Dear Sunday School teacher, good morning. I'm so happy to be with you today on this episode of Adult Sunday School. Our lesson today is titled Being God's People from the book of 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 1 to 10. This letter was written by Apostle Peter to Gentile believers, and he wrote this letter at the time when the Jews gave the Gentiles the impression that they were the chosen generation. So he was writing to address the need of the Gentile believers to know that they belong to a royal priesthood and they are members of a chosen generation by God. So he begins his letter by emphasizing that the believer who is chosen should reject or rid off malice from their lives, hypocrisy, envy, deceit, and that the believer should desire spiritual milk, just like a child who would desire breast milk from his or her mother. He goes ahead in verse 4 to 5 to talk about something very important related to the living stone. He says that all believers are living stones that are used to build the spiritual house whose foundation is the living stone, and that living stone is Jesus Christ. He describes this living stone as a stone that was rejected before by many, which has become the chief or the head cornerstone. So the life of a believer is dependent on the living stone, which is Jesus Christ. So all our hopes and happiness is on the living stone. And he mentions that anyone who does not believe in the living stone, that same stone will become a rock on which they will stumble and fall. And that is a message to unbelievers, that if you do not believe in Jesus Christ, that same living stone is going to be a stumbling block for them. And he ends one of the most important verses, verse 9 and 10, that the believers are a member of the chosen generation, a royal priesthood. Unlike before, when the Jews thought that for you to receive salvation, you need to offer sacrifices to the high priest in the temple. Contrarily, Peter says that the believer is his own priest, and Jesus Christ is the only chief mediator. And secondly, once you believe in Christ, you belong to the chosen generation. And he makes it very clear in verse 10 that the Gentile believers should not think that salvation was reserved only to the elect, that is the Jews, but that anyone who believes in Christ is a member of the chosen generation. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Shejini. Hope to see you in the next episode.